Take a look at this. I knew this was the penalties were a problem. This kind of puts it in perspective. This is just total offensive penalty yardage from last year from Sharp Football. The Browns had the most in the NFL by a pretty wide margin. You have the Seahawks and the Saints, Falcons, the Bills are up there. So in addition to turnovers, what the offensive penalty yardage is telling you is that you were constantly behind the sticks. And when you have turnovers and constantly behind the sticks, you get historically bad offensive play.
You said it best, and then you get the defense starts to press, and there's a whole it starts running downhill for a team sport. Now I will say this: I usually stand alone in this thing, but I don't think the Browns are undisciplined. People say that all the time to me. Look at all the penalties; they're undisciplined. I don't think that's the case. In fact, I don't think that's the case at all. For me, what it is that they don't practice at a very high speed. They're very well organized. They're very disciplined. But in the NFL, these are grown men running into each other, huge guys who run really fast, collisions with each other. And if you don't acclimate to that and you don't get used to that, your body kind of creates a tempo with itself, right? And you get antsy and you get excited. So for me, because they're not acclimated in practice or acclimated when they get to the season, they get off the slow starts. Those linemen start jumping. You start doing things. You start getting your hands outside the cylinder when you're holding. Defensively, there's just a whole thing that happens with acclimation. Acclimation is not only about hitting, it's about getting used to playing at a high violent speed. And you have to do that every single day. You don't have to do it for an hour, but you got to play live every single day so your body gets used to doing that. If not, it's on a different clock when the season starts, and that's when you get the penalties, that's when you get the offsides, the holdings, etc., because they're not acclimated.
So do you think that's the reason that mini camp kind of took up the intensity, and do you expect, would that be a reason you would expect training camp to ratchet up the intensity and the speed as well?
Well, I look forward to seeing, everybody always says there's no fighting at camp. I look forward to see some chippiness. Everybody says, what is chippiness? Well, in the game of football, chippiness comes when two guys are blocking, especially offensive, defensive linemen. Those guys are grinding it out every single day, and you start to learn each other's moves, and you start to guess because you know what the other guy's going to do, and you're trying to, take a double team. Two guys are going to try to move one. The one guy's not going to try to move, etc. But that only happens if everything is live for a certain amount of time. So what I really look forward to, Dave, is I want to see these guys get after in practice. They're always organized. They know what they're doing. Kevin Stefanski is a very good football coach. But if I had one thing that I would want, and maybe this is my dad, kind of old school, I want to see a little bit more contact, a little bit more collisions. They don't have to take each other to the ground. But yes, that'll tell me when they get the pads on, that'll tell me immediately what route they're going with the run game, what route they're going with their philosophy, and kind of their culture moving forward.